Alright, family, buckle up, because what we are about to unpack tonight is going to make your entire jaw hit the floor, and I mean that literally. Cardi B has officially lost the plot. The wheels have come completely off in the most spectacular way, and the internet is about to witness the biggest, loudest, ugliest cultural implosion of the entire year. If you are new to the family, or if you are one of the loyal ones coming back for more, do me one small favor before we get into this thing. Smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. Ring the notification bell so you never miss another expose. Drop a big fat thumbs up on this video, and let us send this thing straight to the top of the algorithm's front page. Because trust me, what I am about to say tonight about Cardi B is going to have half of the internet sliding into my comment section with pitchforks and torches, and the other half sliding in with thank you letters, popcorn, and receipts. The delusional chorus around her is about to be dragged into the sunlight, and every single excuse they have been recycling for the last several years is going to be exposed for the empty, embarrassing, tired talking point that it always was. So grab your drink, get comfortable, lock the door, and let us get straight into it. Because the truth about Cardi B is uglier, messier, and far more damaging than her most devoted parrots want to admit. And by the end of this video, you are going to see exactly why the entire internet is finally starting to wake up. Now, before anybody jumps into the comments to throw the same recycled talking point, let us kill that lazy accusation right on sight, because that is the only script the loyalists have left in the entire building. Every single time somebody with a working brain calls out Cardi's behavior, her feather club runs to the exact same three-word defense. Oh, you are jealous. Oh, you are obsessed. Oh, you must secretly want to be her. And it is honestly embarrassing at this point, because nobody with functioning self-respect is envious of what Cardi has going on in her personal life. So let us pull out the receipts and look at what we are actually being told to envy here. We are being told to envy a grown woman who still has an estranged husband on the books, who still has a baby daddy right in the middle of everything, and who has now parked a brand new boyfriend on top of the entire situation, all running simultaneously, all overlapping, all playing out on public timelines in real time. That is not a flex. That is not a queen moment. That is not girl boss energy. That is a woman playing musical chairs with her own life, and the fact that her fans think it is aspirational tells you absolutely everything you need to know about who is running her comment sections at 3 in the morning. Because let us be real for 1 second, straight logic is not exactly winning inside the Cardi B fanbase, is it? These are the same people who will watch a grown woman running through 3 men at once and call it female empowerment. These are the same people who will watch her melting down in real time on Twitter Spaces at 3 in the morning and call it authenticity. These are the same people who will hear her insult a stranger's children on a live stream and call it iconic. There is nothing iconic about it. There is nothing empowering about it. There is nothing authentic about it. There is only a very tired, very angry, very sleep-deprived woman who cannot log off her phone, and a swarm of loyal little parrots who cannot admit that the queen they built inside their own imaginations was never actually real to begin with. That queen is a hologram. That queen is a marketing package. That queen is a paid press release wrapped around a woman who cannot sit still for 6 hours without picking a public fight with somebody who did not ask for the smoke. And here is where the entire Cardi B defense machine really shows its whole hand. The second anybody dares to critique her, the enablers run to the same tired counterattack, and you can set your watch by it. Oh, you are just a hater. Oh, it takes a revolving door to know a revolving door. Oh, you are projecting your own life onto her. Sweetheart, let me help you out with something. It does not take experience to identify a pattern. It takes adult brain math. And adult brain math is called adult brain math because it is supposed to be common. It is supposed to be baseline. It is supposed to be the minimum entry ticket into adulthood. And yet somehow, inside this fandom, adult brain math is treated like some rare mystical superpower that only trained monks in a mountain temple could possibly possess. You do not need to have lived a wobbly morals lifestyle to recognize one when it appears. You do not need to have made every one of Cardi's mistakes to identify them clearly. You just need functioning eyes, working ears, and the ability to read a headline. And she has been generating headlines for all the wrong reasons for so many years in a row that at this point, defending her online is basically a full-time, unpaid position that comes with no benefits and zero dignity attached. Let us actually walk through Cardi B's resume, because I think a lot of these defenders have selective, convenient, on-demand amnesia. Cardi started her career as an exotic dancer. Now, before the delusional chorus tries to twist my words into something they are not, let me be crystal clear on this point. I have zero problem with women who dance for a living. Zero. I have zero problem with women who do what they have to do to survive, especially when there are children to feed, rent to pay, and bills that will not wait for a better opportunity to arrive. That is a survival story, and I respect survival stories deeply. I always have and I always will. But her particular origin story is not the same as a struggling single mother trying to keep her lights on and her babies fed. Cardi has openly admitted, in her own words, on her own camera, on her own platform, that she used to drug men and rob them. She said it herself, on the record, out loud. Nobody put those words in her mouth. Nobody manipulated her into confessing. She admitted it, she laughed about it, and she moved on with her life. That is not a survival tale. That is a criminal confession delivered with a smile, and the entire industry decided to laugh it off because she was funny on Instagram. And being funny on Instagram apparently absolves you of anything up to and including drugging strangers in hotel rooms. That is the level of moral bankruptcy we are dealing with inside this fandom, and everybody keeps pretending it is normal, healthy, and celebratory. And this, right here, is what I mean when I say nobody is jealous of Cardi. Who exactly is jealous of a success story that starts with drugging strangers in hotel rooms? Who is jealous of a greatest hits reel made up of screaming matches on livestream at 4 in the morning? Who is jealous of a woman who cannot go 72 hours without a full public meltdown in front of millions of witnesses? Nobody. Not one single person with a shred of self-respect intact. The only people romanticizing this lifestyle are the exact same women who are already living some watered-down version of it themselves and desperately need a celebrity to validate their own personal choices. That is not fandom. That is codependency. That is emotional outsourcing on a mass industrial scale. And she knows exactly what she is doing when she leans into it. Because a fan base built from insecure women in need of external validation is the most loyal, most defensive, most weaponized fan base on the entire planet. She figured that out early in her career, and she has been monetizing it every single day since. Let us also talk about the mental state, because this is where it gets almost sad. If Cardi had not spent so many years being genuinely cruel to people who did nothing at all to deserve it. Give this woman a 3-hour window on any given day, and she will be crashing out on the internet. Give her 4 hours, and she will be going live, ranting into her front-facing camera about a random stranger who dared to tweet her name into the algorithm. Give her a full 24-hour day, and she has already picked fights with 3 different content creators, 2 random fans in her comment section, 1 baby mama who has never spoken her name out loud, and probably a random journalist on the side just to keep the muscle warm and ready. This is not a woman who is thriving. This is not a woman living her best life. This is a woman unraveling in slow motion in front of the whole internet. And every content creator who has been paying attention has quietly started asking the same identical question in the group chats. When does Cardi ever sleep? When does she ever eat? When does she ever actually spend uninterrupted, present, real time with her own children? Because the timeline math is not mathing. The only way any human being alive is seeing every single tweet, every single live stream, every single mention, every single comment thread that references her name is if she has a dedicated team of goblins on payroll feeding her screenshots 24 hours a day, and she pretends the outrage is spontaneous. It is not spontaneous. It is engineered. It is a full-time obsession, dressed up in a designer outfit and marketed as clapping back. And speaking of obsession, let us circle right back to that accusation the Cardi defenders love to throw around like it means something. They say content creators are obsessed with her. Please. Nobody in this space is dressing like Cardi. Nobody in this space is getting surgery to look like Cardi. Nobody in this space is copying her music, her cadence, her voice, her fashion, her walk, or her way of speaking to an audience. If anything, it has always been the other way around. She has spent years chasing other women, imitating other women, and trying desperately to eclipse other women. First it was Nicki. She fixed her teeth, fixed her face, altered her body, and spent an entire album cycle trying to eclipse Nicki. When that particular strategy did not deliver the results she wanted, she pivoted hard. Suddenly, it was all about Bia. Every hairstyle, every pose, every aesthetic decision started to mirror Bia's personal brand so obviously that even her own fans started to notice out loud in the comment sections. And when the Bia aesthetic did not land the way she hoped it would, what did she do? She melted down in real time on the internet again, and again, and again. Because that is the factory setting. When she cannot successfully become the woman she is trying to imitate, she crashes out and picks a public fight to distract everyone from the failed transformation. Now, let us get into the Stefon Diggs situation, because this is the receipt that ends the entire Cardi is misunderstood narrative once and for all. A content creator publicly called Cardi out for allegedly having personal issues with Stefon Diggs' baby mother. She, being who she is, immediately went live on the internet and denied the whole thing. She said, on the record, in front of thousands of live viewers, that there was no beef, no drama, no bad blood, no problem, and nothing to see here. She looked directly into that camera lens and told her entire audience that everything between her and those women was completely fine. Do you know exactly what happened the very next week? She was back on the internet, on Instagram Live, ranting nonstop, screaming into her front camera, and I quote almost word for word, F.A. baby mama, F.A. baby mama, F.A. baby mama, over and over again, on a loop, like a broken vinyl record spinning in an empty room. So which one is it? Which version of the story does the loyal little parrot audience want to defend today? Because you cannot claim there is no beef with these women on a Monday, and then spend all of Tuesday going scorched earth on the exact same women you swore you had no problem with. That is not authenticity. That is not being real. That is a woman who cannot even keep her own lies straight from one week to the next, and her fan base is either too devoted, too dizzy, or too dependent to notice what is happening right in front of them. Here is the part that really tells you exactly where her head is at right now. She has a mother who loves her deeply and publicly. She has a father who loves her deeply and publicly. She has children who need her attention, her presence, and her time. She has a support system that most women in her position would kill for on any given day of the week. And instead of leaning into that gift, instead of building a legacy her own children could actually be proud of one day, she chooses to spend her waking hours doom-scrolling comment sections, hunting for slights, and picking calculated fights with women who are not even thinking about her existence. That is not a woman at peace. That is not a woman living her best life. That is a woman running from something so hard and so fast that if she stops moving for even one single second, the entire illusion she has built will collapse under its own weight in front of millions of witnesses on multiple platforms simultaneously. And let us talk about the music, because her defenders love to shove her chart numbers in everybody's face like that, is the entire conversation, and the case is officially closed. Well, guess what? She herself went on Twitter Spaces last week and told her own fans, and I am paraphrasing directly from her mouth here, to shut up about the streaming numbers because she is not making anything meaningful from music at this point in her career. She said it herself. She admitted the labels are not paying her the way she wants to be paid, and that her actual income is coming from everywhere except her actual craft. So let us all agree, right here, right now, tonight, to stop pretending the music game is being won by Cardi. It is not being won. She is one of the very first hip-hop artists in modern music history to slash an entire full-length album down to $2.99 just to artificially inflate her first week numbers. $2.99. Read that number again slowly, out loud, to yourself. That is not a strategy. That is not innovation. That is not a clever industry move. That is a fire sale. That is a clearance bin superstar dumping product at a loss just to buy a bigger headline in the trade publications the following week. And the fact that her fans celebrated it like some kind of victory, like she had cracked some genius secret industry code, is the funniest, saddest, most delusional thing I have witnessed all year long. She did not crack a code. She lowered the price until the number went up. That is not innovation. That is desperation, dressed in a marketing budget with a bow on top. But this is the Cardi B playbook. This is the entire pattern. Every single time the actual results do not match the manufactured hype, she repackages the loss as a win in real time. Album underperforms? Slash the price. Tour rumors flop? Blame the promoters. Rollout goes sideways. Blame the label. Content creators call it out. Send the loyal little parrots to swarm the comment sections in coordinated waves. She has built an entire career on being able to control the narrative in real time, and the second the narrative slips even slightly out of her hands, she melts down. Every single time. Without fail. Like clockwork. And her Feather Club has been so thoroughly trained to cover for her over the years that they can no longer even see the pattern anymore. They are inside the frame. They are the frame. And they are getting paid in dopamine hits instead of dollars. And they cannot tell the difference between the two. Let us also acknowledge, out loud, on the record, what Cardi actually represents inside the modern music industry right now, because this needs to be said clearly, and it needs to be said tonight. Her entire brand is chaos. Every product launch, every song release, every red carpet appearance, every magazine cover is layered underneath years of accumulated accusations, screaming matches, and public embarrassments that would have ended almost any other career 3 times over. There are women working in hip-hop right now who ground for a full decade to be taken seriously in this genre. Women who wrote their own lyrics with no ghostwriters in sight. Women who developed their own sound from scratch in bedrooms and basements. Women who never once needed to threaten a journalist, drag a baby mama, or throw a shoe at a colleague to get attention. And she walked in with a handful of viral Instagram clips and a whole lot of yelling, and she got handed a Grammy, a Vogue cover, a spot on every corporate stage, and a cosign from every executive in the building. And then, instead of protecting that opportunity, instead of paying it forward, instead of respecting the doors that were open for her, she spent the next several years torching every single bridge she crossed. That is not the industry's fault. That is not a conspiracy. That is not some invisible hand working against her behind the scenes. That is entirely on her. And her defenders can scream, cry, dogpile, mass report, and coordinate all they want on this platform. But the receipts have been sitting there in plain sight for a very long time, and they simply do not lie. Now, about the surgery, because you genuinely cannot have this conversation without discussing what she has done to her own body over the years. She has been reasonably transparent about a lot of her procedures, and I actually respect the transparency piece of it, because a lot of women in the industry pretend nothing has been done and gaslight their fans in the process. So credit where credit is due on the honesty. But transparency does not automatically mean the actual results have to be praised, and this is where the fandom loses its collective mind. I saw a clip recently of her showing off some new piercings, some new tattoos, some new outfit combination, and I have to be honest with the family watching this. That midsection is not it. That stomach is calling for a moment of silence and a memorial candle. That is not a body glow-up. That is not a snapback. That is not the body is body and G situation her fans keep trying to convince the internet is happening. That is a woman whose surgeon genuinely needs to answer some questions in front of a licensing board. And every single time she posts one of these thirst traps trying to convince the internet that everything is beautiful, the comment sections light up with fans lying directly to her face, telling her she looks incredible, and she eats it up because she needs it. She needs the reassurance. She needs the validation. She needs the noise. And when the reassurance eventually runs out, and it always does, guess what happens? Another meltdown. Another live stream. Another attack on a stranger. Another cycle. Another spin of the same broken wheel. This is the loop. This is the entire Cardi B loop, laid out in 12 moves. Get attention. Chase validation. Lose validation. Crash out. Attack a stranger. Farm engagement off the crash out. Get attention again. Repeat. It is the exact same 12 moves, in the exact same order, every single time, and the fan base has been so conditioned to it over the years that they no longer even question the pattern. They just show up on cue, defend the meltdown, throw the same 3 insults at the same critics, and go home to sleep before the next one starts tomorrow morning. She has trained an entire fan base to be reactive on command, on demand, on schedule, and honestly, that is the darkest, most calculated trick in her entire playbook, because it is a form of psychological outsourcing that most people cannot see happening in real time until it is far too late to opt out. Let us also talk about the way she treats other women in this business, because I think this piece gets buried under all of the surface noise. She has spent years going after other female artists in her own genre. She has gone after Nicki. She has gone after Bia. She has thrown shots at Meg. She has beefed with baby mamas who have absolutely nothing to do with her personal life. She has picked fights with women who barely even acknowledged her existence in the first place. And every single time, when the internet pushes back and asks why, she plays the victim card without hesitation. She says she was defending herself. She says she was misunderstood. She says the media is out to get her. Cardi has never, not once, in her entire public life, taken accountability for starting a single fight. Not one. Not ever. And the delusional chorus around her has convinced themselves that this pattern is somehow a strength. It is not a strength. It is arrested development wrapped in a designer bag with a red-bottom shoe on top and a champagne flute in hand. And can we finally talk about the way she handles her actual romantic relationships? Because this is the part that should immediately disqualify her from the queen. Label her fans keep forcing on her like it is a birthright. She is still legally married to Offset. Offset is the father of her older children. She has a brand new baby with a brand new man, Stefan Diggs, while Offset is technically still her husband on the actual paperwork sitting in an attorney's office somewhere. And she expects the general public to celebrate this arrangement like it is some kind of feminist milestone. It is not. It is not a milestone. It is a mess. It is the kind of mess that if any regular non-famous woman brought this exact same situation home, her own mother would sit her down at the kitchen table and gently ask her what she is doing with her life. But because she is famous, because she has a fan base of loyal little parrots ready to defend absolutely anything, we are all supposed to nod along in unison and call it growth. It is not growth. It is chaos with a publicist and a Wi-Fi connection and a lawyer on retainer. And here is the thing I really want the loyalists to sit with tonight, quietly, without the noise of the group chat, without the notifications, without the comment section pep talk. Every single behavior you currently defend in her, you would immediately condemn in a regular woman living a regular life. If your own sister was juggling an estranged husband, a baby daddy, and a new boyfriend all at once, you would sit her down and ask her what happened to her judgment. If your best friend was crashing out on the internet every 3 hours, you would take her phone away from her for her own protection. If your cousin was drugging men in hotel rooms and bragging about it on camera, you would probably call the police and beg her to get help immediately. But because she is a celebrity, because she is rich, because she is loud, because she is entertaining, you have decided that all the normal adult rules simply do not apply to her. That is not fandom. That is not love. That is moral cowardice, dressed up in a costume and posted on a fan page for likes and retweets. And the reason all of this actually matters, the reason so many content creators keep coming back to this well week after week after week, is because the culture is genuinely being shaped by these behaviors in real time in front of us. Young women are watching her and thinking that this is what winning looks like in the year we are living in. Young girls are watching her and thinking that screaming at strangers on the internet is how a grown woman is supposed to handle her personal business. Young women are watching her and thinking that lying to your own audience is normal, that having multiple men at once is empowerment, that public meltdowns are personality, and that cruelty toward other women is confidence. And when those young women get older and their own lives eventually fall apart under the weight of these adopted behaviors, they will not blame the celebrity they were modeling themselves after. They will blame themselves. Meanwhile, in that exact same moment, she will still be on Instagram Live, ranting into her front camera about a woman who dared to tweet her name into the algorithm. Now, the delusional chorus is going to hear all of this and immediately run to the comments to accuse me of hating a black woman. Save it. Not a single word I have said tonight, in this entire video, is about race. Every single word I have said tonight is about behavior, choices, and public accountability. Cardi is not being critiqued because she is a black woman. Cardi is being critiqued because she is a public figure whose actions are actively shaping an entire generation of impressionable young women, and those actions genuinely deserve honest scrutiny from people willing to say it out loud on camera. There are dozens of black women in the music business right now who are not being critiqued the way Cardi is being critiqued, and there is a very simple, obvious reason for that. They are not doing what she is doing. They are not melting down in public. They are not attacking strangers for sport. They are not bragging about drugging men on camera. They are handling their business quietly, protecting their peace fiercely, and letting their work speak on their behalf. She could learn from any of them. She chooses not to. That is a choice. That is her choice. And this, right here, is exactly why the "you are just jealous" defense has finally, publicly, embarrassingly collapsed on itself. It does not hold up anymore. It is not credible. It is not intellectually serious. Nobody who lives a peaceful, adult, functional life envies a woman whose entire existence is one long, continuous comment section brawl. Nobody with functioning romantic relationships envies a woman whose personal life is a legal knot that will take a specialty attorney a full calendar year to untangle. Nobody with real income and real financial peace envies a woman who has to slash her album to $2.99 just to move enough units to hit a chart position. The math does not work. The story does not hold. The defense has expired, and it is not being renewed. Every content creator you accuse of being obsessed with her is simply doing what content creators have always done and always will continue to do. Reporting on a public figure who cannot stop generating headlines with her own two hands. Let us also directly address the money, because Cardi's fans love to bring up the money like it is some kind of moral argument that ends the debate immediately. Yes, she is rich. Congratulations. She is also, by her own repeated admission, deeply miserable. She has admitted, in her own words, in her own songs, in her own interviews across multiple outlets and years, that she is not happy. She has admitted she is tired. She has admitted the fame is heavy. She has admitted that the industry treats her differently now than it used to when she was newer and less exposed to the machine. She is not a happy woman. And the fact that her fans continue to hold her up as the ultimate life goal for young women is one of the saddest, most confusing cultural phenomena of the entire decade we are living in. Do not aspire to this life. Aspire to peace. Aspire to a functional family unit. Aspire to actual love, not staged love. Aspire to sleep at night without a phone in your hand. She has money, sure, but she does not have any of those other things, and every single meltdown broadcast to the world is proof of it in real time. And here is where I need to speak directly to the loyal little parrots one more time, because I know for a fact you are still here, still watching, still reading, still ready to type. Every single time you defend Cardi online, Every single time you swarm a comment section on Q, every single time you post that same tired, "You are jealous" line under a video like this one, you are not actually defending her at all. You are exposing yourself. You are telling the entire internet, in bright neon letters, that you cannot recognize toxic behavior when it is directly in front of your face. You are telling the entire internet that your personal standards are set so low that a woman who juggles 3 men, drugs strangers, and screams at baby mamas is your role model. You are telling the entire internet, on your own account, with your real name attached, that you would rather protect a millionaire who does not know you exist than protect your own self-respect and dignity. And that is a genuinely sad thing to volunteer publicly, in writing, forever, on a searchable platform that never forgets a single word you typed. At some point, this fan base is going to have to grow up. At some point, the delusional chorus is going to have to admit, quietly, in private, alone in the dark, that the woman they have been defending for all these years is not actually the woman they thought she was in the beginning. At some point, the parrots are going to have to fly home to a nest that has been empty for a long time. Because Cardi is not slowing down. Cardi is escalating. Every meltdown is louder than the last one. Every live stream is more unhinged than the one before it. Every attack on a stranger is more calculated and more coordinated than the last. This is not going to end well for anyone involved on any side of it. And when the wheels finally do come off completely, and they will, the same fans who defended every single bad decision along the way will be the first ones to quietly disappear from the timeline and pretend they were never here in the first place. But I already know exactly how this ends. She is going to see this video. Her team is going to see this video. And within about 3 hours, give or take, she is going to be on Instagram Live, ranting into her front-facing camera about a content creator she has never even met in person, screaming, insulting, threatening, and doing every single one of the things I just described in this entire video. And when she does, the loyal little parrots are going to swarm my comment section, call me a hater, tell me I am jealous, tell me I am obsessed, and prove every single word I said tonight, without even realizing they are proving it in real time. Because that is the ecosystem. That is the machine. That is the loop. And it is genuinely, finally, publicly running out of gas in front of the whole world. Let us also spend a minute on the way Cardi markets herself as a survivor. Because this is another piece of the puzzle that gets waved around like a magic wand every time somebody dares to critique her behavior. She loves to remind people that she came from nothing, that she built herself from the ground up, that nobody handed her a single thing on her journey. And there is a version of that story that would be genuinely inspiring if the entire second half of the story did not consist of her actively hurting other women, other artists, other content creators, and other public figures on her way up and on her way sideways. Being a survivor does not give you a permanent lifetime pass to be cruel to everybody else who has also survived something. Being a survivor does not exempt you from accountability. Being a survivor does not entitle you to lie to your fans, torture peers, and attack strangers on camera. And yet that is exactly the deal she has silently offered her fanbase, and they have signed on the dotted line without ever reading the actual fine print. There is also the matter of how she treats the very people who built her early career, and this is a conversation the loyalists never want to have. There are producers, writers, dancers, stylists, and content collaborators who worked with her in the beginning and who have quietly spoken about how the environment changed the moment the checks got bigger. There are receipts sitting in group chats and burner accounts across this industry that would make the average fan's jaw drop if any of them ever went public. And the reason none of it ever fully surfaces is because her machine is aggressive, well-funded, and legally protected. She has attorneys on speed dial. She has publicists who work overtime. She has a fanbase trained to attack any dissenter on site. So the receipts stay buried, the whispers stay whispers, and the myth of her as the lovable, self-made underdog gets to survive one more news cycle. But the truth eventually finds daylight. It always does. It is only a question of when. And one more thing, because I know somebody in the comments is about to type it. Do not come at me with the "she is just being herself" defense. That is the weakest defense in the entire Cardi B playbook. Being yourself is not a moral achievement. Being yourself does not make cruelty acceptable. Serial killers are being themselves. Con artists are being themselves. Toxic bosses are being themselves. The world is not obligated to celebrate you simply because you refuse to grow, evolve, apologize, or improve. And she has spent so many years hiding behind that particular defense that she has genuinely convinced herself and her fanbase that authenticity means never having to say sorry for anything ever. It does not. Authenticity without accountability is not authenticity. It is just chaos with a filter and a hashtag underneath it. So to every one of Cardi's defenders who made it to the end of this video, Thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. You just gave me 20-something minutes of your life, and every single one of those minutes is going to help this video reach more people, more communities, more platforms, more algorithms. So while you were down there in the comments section typing out your rage with the caps lock on and the punctuation off, do me the favor of hitting that like button, sharing this video across your platforms, and going directly to your favorite fan community to tell them exactly what I said tonight, word for word, out of context. Bring the whole feather club. Bring the whole delusional chorus. Bring every single loyal little parrot she has left standing on her side. I am not going anywhere. This channel is not going anywhere. And this conversation is not going anywhere either. And to my actual family watching, the ones with straight logic and adult brain math intact, the ones who have been sitting with this the whole way through, you already know exactly what to do. Drop a comment telling me which part of tonight's Cardi breakdown hit the hardest. Tell me which meltdown you personally remember the most vividly. Tell me which excuse from the fanbase you are the most tired of hearing repeated over and over. Tell me what you honestly think finally breaks the illusion for good and sends this fandom home for the last time. And if you have not subscribed yet, please, go handle that right now, because next week we are going even deeper into the industry, and there is a name I am about to drop that is going to make everything you heard tonight about Cardi look like the warm-up act to the real main event. You do not want to miss it. You cannot afford to miss it. That is the tea. That is the whole pot. Take care of yourselves out there, protect your peace, guard your standards, hold your own boundaries, keep your adult brain math sharp, and I will see you in the very next one.